What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Life of Lauren. So I took a poll on my Instagram and wanted to see what kind of content you guys like, and the most popularly requested video was my beauty routine, which I was very surprised about because in a lot of my videos I'm not wearing makeup. So I'm excited to show you that. I'm excited to show you my products. But first and foremost, before I put on makeup, the very first thing I do is wash my face and apply, you'll see, like a million layers of protection before I actually even get into the foundation. And I think maybe that might be my secret to a dewy look. I love a dewy look. I've had a matte phase where I liked matte products, but I just don't have it. I have too dry of skin to be doing that. So first things first, gonna wash my face. All right, just washed my face. As I mentioned in a past video, my Aveeno face wash is my go-to, super gentle. The reason I washed my face before is because I'm so prone to breakouts when I put on makeup. So I apply tons of layers to just ensure that the makeup's not getting into my pores as much as it might if I didn't have all these layers. But first things first is my vitamin C. So this little bottle, I'm running out of it pretty fast, faster than I anticipated I would. This is in my skincare video. I put it on my eyes. It's just like a brightening and it restores your cells. So I put that, I let it dry really quickly. It dries quick. I put thin layers of everything. Next, I apply my vitamin E oil to my face, which I'm glad I'm actually going over this right now because I talked about what I use in my skincare routine video, but I didn't actually post what I used. My vitamin E oil gives me kind of like a glowy look, which that's what I love in makeup. I like to look even more youthful when I put it on. I'm young, so I have young looking skin, but I want to even look younger when I put all my stuff on. So I put my oil on. That you kind of want to let sit in for a little bit, just because I don't want it to be like everything's caked on. But once I let that sit and kind of absorb into my skin, the next thing I put is my sunblock, which you'll see too in my foundation. My foundation is SPF 45 and my sunscreen is SPF 50. So that's a lot of protection, which is super crucial. So I just put a little dab. I usually really focus on my eyes for that protection because I don't want wrinkles someday. And I just put it all over. I'll put some on my neck later when I'm not wearing a turtleneck. But that is the very first few layers I put on before I even get into any makeup products at all. I think it's all rubbed in well. My skin feels healthy, just feels super fresh and rejuvenated. So next, before I put on my foundation, I will use this Rare Beauty primer. What I like about it, and you'll see, I didn't realize this until I was taking out my makeup products. This is a little bit embarrassing. So many of my products are sampler sizes, not sample, but like the travel size type of stuff. And that's because I mentioned in past videos, I don't wear makeup often, but I do like the good quality brands. So I guess a little tip is if you're not using these expensive brands often, just buy, I've had this almost a year, this primer, and it's less than half the price of the actual large primer. Same with like your blush, it goes a long way. And this came with a pack of 5 at Christmas time at Sephora. I have a lot of Rare Beauty stuff. So we'll get into that later, but the sample sizes the travel sizes go a really long way. So next I'm gonna put on my primer, which sparkles a little. And I think that helps with the glowy look and dewy look. Yeah, it has like a nice bronzed type of color to it, because the last thing I want to do is look too white. Because fun fact, my first time I ever got a foundation, I just like matched it to my arm, and when I went back like a year later, they're like, you're wearing 7 shades too light. So that's embarrassing. It just didn't match. And when I got a new foundation, I didn't tell Josiah I did, and he's like, hey, your neck matches your face really well. And that's when I was like, wow, that must have been pretty bad if a boy can acknowledge that, if a man can acknowledge that my skin tones did not look the same when I wore makeup. So there's my primer, ready to go. Of course, the next step is putting on some sort of chapstick. This is just like essential oils, because when you're doing your makeup, you just don't want to have chapped lips. You know how that looks. So I have everything set. My favorite brush, this is from Ulta. It's just the Ulta brand. I want to say this was like $30, but I've had this probably 2 years. So it was worth the splurge for me. And I'll get into my foundation right now. The foundation I always wear is the Estee Lauder Futurist Hydra Rescue. So I try to ensure that I have a really good foundation that's gonna hydrate my skin. I talked about in past videos how I do have more of a dry skin type, but other foundations that I've used before that I wanted to show you. If you have oily skin, actually this one was discontinued, but the new one is really similar to it. The Fenty Beauty foundation. This was the Pro Filter, which, like I said, I don't think they have it anymore, but this was so good, and their new ones are pretty similar to this. The next one that I really liked is, this is a cheaper alternative, this Clinique one. The reason I stopped using it is because this also wasn't my shade. This one was way too light for me, and this one was way too dark, so I finally have my actual skin color. And the last one I wanted to show you, which is probably one of the best skin tints I've ever used, is this Morphe skin tint. Somebody gave it to me for Christmas, but she was a makeup artist, so I think that's why she did such a good job of finding the right color for me. This skin tint is phenomenal, and it looked just so, my skin looked porcelain with it, but when I want a little more coverage, which today I'm going to a wedding, I'm gonna use my Estee Lauder Full Coverage Futurist Hydra Rescue. And I really don't put that much. Actually, I might put it on my brush. I switch it up. Sometimes I put it in my hand, sometimes on my brush, or sometimes directly on my face. But literally, I think that's, I might do a few more pumps, but I'll just spread it out a little. I definitely try to avoid this area. Like, I'll just use a little bit of my excess around my nose, because I find that for my skin type, as long as I avoid caking this area and this area, my most dry spots, then I have more of that just naturally glowy looking skin, and not that it looks forced by makeup. So I'll rub all that in. And other news, super exciting. Somebody gifted me one of those baby Dopplers, or fetal Dopplers. I guess it goes by either one. But in the beginning, a few weeks ago, I could not really hear my baby's heartbeat, and I wasn't worried about it. I just knew that your baby has to be in the correct position. But now that my baby is growing, it was beating for so long, and I might put a little bit more. It was just the coolest experience, and Josiah was falling asleep, and I woke him up, and I'm like, please record this. And it's just so special, and it was right on track. Babies' heartbeats are like between 110 and 160 something. They're supposed to be, don't quote me on that, but it was at 145. And so I know that it's usually at 145-ish, and that's what our doctor says is good. And so it was just so cool, and I told him, I'm like, this is my favorite song, just hearing his heartbeat. So next, after I use my brush, I'll go in with a damp beauty blender. Just get it all rubbed in. It's really a super thin layer, and you can build this foundation up. I will say this is like a $50 foundation, but I've had it for so long that, I got an eyelash in my eye. It's worth it to me, and it'll probably last me like 6 months longer. So, plus I'll pay for good products if I know they're long lasting and worth it. So that's done. The next thing I'll go in with is my e.l.f. Concealer. This is in shade light beige. It's from Target. This was like $7, which is a steal if you ask me. And I'll just lightly, same thing, since this is so light, I don't want to put too much, but I'll put some on the sides of my lips or above. depending on, and just a tiny bit here to balance it out. But like I said, I don't like to put too much stuff, too much product right there. A tiny bit on my chin, and then I thought I had a little pimple. I don't think I do. Oh well. And right there. For some reason, I always get an ingrown hair right here in my eyebrow. It's annoying. I've had it for like years, I feel like. Anyway, I lost my small beauty blender, but I really loved it. So I'll just, if you have a smaller beauty blender for under the eyes, you should really use that, but I lost mine. So we'll use this. And just really quickly let everything blend in. If I do have a pimple, I will leave my concealer on it for a little bit longer, and then later I'll go back and blend it in. But if you use my skincare routine, you know, it's doing pretty well for me. So we don't have too many blemishes to try to cover up today, just kind of evening out the skin. So everything's pretty evened out now. And that's as deep as I'm gonna get into in terms of covering up and evening out my skin tone. Now everything else will just be enhancing features. So there's that. My setting powder that I like, this is the Anastasia, however you say her name, Beverly Hills setting powder, and it's pretty good. I've never tried a setting powder other than this ever, but I do like it. I barely put any just because I do like the dewy look, so I don't want to make that go away, but I'll just lightly, they say you're supposed to look up, dab that in. And just add it to those other little spots, but I won't do any other areas besides that. Okay, next, the exciting part. I love cream products. I got this Fenty Beauty, oh no, I forgot the bronzer? I want to say this is a bronzer. It's dewy and I love it. I used to have a powder one, which that was nice too, but like I said, I'm really trying to get away from any powdered products just because it's not what suits my face. So I just add a little bit because I also went through a phase where I would add way too much and it just did not. I just want to look as natural as possible, just enhancing features, not really transforming my whole entire face. That's just my own preference. This is what I do for everyday makeup, for weddings. This is the only makeup routine I know how to do. So if I look different in any pictures, it's because I just did it better one day or I used a different lipstick. Because this is really just what I do every single time. But it works for me. I have my 20-week appointment next week, so I'll get to see like a full breakdown of how my baby's developing, which I believe includes how his lungs are developing, all kinds of stuff that I'm super excited for, I'm super nervous for, but that's coming up. And I can't believe I'm almost halfway done with being pregnant. Like my baby's almost being born, and that's crazy. We're in the process of trying to move because I'm just getting the urge and I'm like, I want to prepare for stuff. Am I going to have room for my crib? Because I love our apartment and I love our location so much, but it's just not realistic for a baby. Like it barely fits two of us. Next, I'm going to go in with this blush. It looks super bright, and it is, so you have to only add a little bit. I just only recently started getting into blush. I don't really like pink tones on me. This just complements my skin color and my makeup product. Oh, that was too much. Let's see. And I'll just kind of blend it out, and then I'll go over it with a beauty blender in a little bit. If I do happen to put way too much, I'll just move it on up. I think that's good enough because you do want it to look a little bit rosy and not blend it in entirely. And this other side. Okay, I think that's good. Now, what I'm gonna do next is curl my eyelashes. I have super straight eyelashes. I need to post the serum that I use to grow them. I haven't used it in a while because it's $170, but I cannot tell you how much my eyelashes have grown with it. I haven't done it in a while, but I really recommend it for everyone. It's by Rodan & Fields. Like I said, 170, or maybe it's 150. I don't know, but it's the best. And so is this mascara. My aunt got me this. It's this Dime mascara. You have to get it from their website, and I'm due for another one, so it's gonna be a little bit dry right now, but it has tiny little fibers in them that kind of give the illusion of more hair. So when you wash it off, like, you'll see the fibers come off, but it is the best. I think though, before I give birth, I'm gonna get, if time permits, another eyelash perm, because that was the best thing ever. And I always had the best eyelashes with those.
Do you know you left a little bit on the corner of that concealer?
Where?
By your eyebrow.
Oh, thanks.
I was like waiting for the right moment. I was like, I'm just gonna.
I can't see it from that far. So doing my mascara is such a process, especially when it's just this, it'll barely close because it's so dry, but I need to really go online and get a new one. But so what I do is I apply my mascara and then I let it dry right now while I'm putting on other products, because I want to curl them again a few times and apply probably one more layer. Yeah, one more layer, but I just need it to dry so that I can actually curl them. So next I'm gonna blend in my eyebrow. Okay, I didn't even know. Oh, no, first, skipped a part, guys. I wanted to show you two different products that I really like to use. Hold on. The two eyebrow, I just recently started,
bruh.
I just recently started using eyebrow products. I would just kind of color them in slightly before, but I've really liked using these brow gels. So here's the thing. I love Kylie's brow gel because I think it works well. I think it doesn't leave the effect of just, like, you can tell. Okay, so with this gel, you can really tell that I have gel in my eyebrows because it dries up like glue. You know, like the Elmer's glue, that's what it does. And I hate that, but I think it's such a good product because it just smooths out my eyebrows so well. But Kylie's product, I swear, there's like nothing in here. I used it maybe 2 weeks and it completely ran out. And then the quality of the bottle is just, like, just touching it, look how much it just peels off into it melts into your hand. So the paint on here is just constantly melting. So I don't know. If you have any other eyebrow gel suggestions, please let me know, because I've been very into this lately. I really like them. I'm basically out of Kylie's because I'm trying this new one, but so we're gonna have to use this today. But I just really hate that by the end of the day, there's white on my eyebrows. Not cute. But I love how I do have long eyebrows. Like, this is them trimmed, and I just don't want them to be flying everywhere all day. Like, they get really messed up. I don't really have to color them in much unless I mess them up. Like right here, I just started plucking my own because I just haven't had time to go to my eyebrow lady, and she's always really booked. But she is very good, but I just haven't had time. So for now, I'm doing the best that I can. So there is that. Just stuck down, and then we'll go back in and try to even them out a little bit. I really don't try to color them in, just even them out, because since everything else is kind of more of a natural look, I don't want to just have this super bold eyebrow. So we'll just even out the bottom. I'll probably go in later and just fix my eyebrows as needed, because in this mirror they look okay, but that mirror they still look a little bit uneven. But that's basically as in-depth as I get with my eyebrows. So lastly, before we kind of finish my eyelashes, which they're still a little bit wet, I love, love, love this Rare Beauty highlighter. It's the Flaunt shade color.
What?
And I put it just a little bit here on my nose. I'll dab some of that into on top of my lip. Blend up here. Usually I just use my finger for this, but what I also do is I love using it as an eyeshadow. I hate when, every time I use eyeshadow, I just feel like it kind of all comes onto my face, and then I have random sections that just have way too much glitter and the rest doesn't, and I hate that. So I feel like when I use a highlighter, a liquid highlighter, which I used to use the powder one as well, which I don't like nearly as much. This is just so shiny and glowy and makes my whole face come together and look dewy. I'll put a little bit in the corner. And I mostly just use my finger for this also because it blends so well with my skin color. And it just blends well in general that if it's in random places, it's really not a huge deal. And if I have excess, I'll put it under my eyebrow, but I don't think that's really necessary today. So hopefully on camera you can see that it just gives, like from my angle maybe, it just gives a really, really nice shiny look. And it stays really well. So this has so many purposes. You don't need that much. So I really definitely suggest this product and my foundation. I love my foundation. If you have dry skin, not sure how it would be on oily skin, since already it feels super moisturized everywhere. Lastly, I had this before I finished my eyelashes one last time. The last product I use before putting on my lipstick is this Sephora setting spray. It's 16-hour wear. Usually, I've tried one other one before. I'm not really picky about them. I just try to make sure that they're for dewy makeup. This one's not, but it's worked just fine. Let that dry. I've gone through, usually for my lipsticks, I'll only use the Milani brand. And that is because they're the cheapest lipstick brand I can find that is still very good quality. This literally still has the Walmart alarm on it. Not because I stole it, but because it's just, I cannot get that sticker off. But I had a matte one in the same shade, or a really similar shade, that I really liked a lot. But now that I'm doing more of a dewy look, I don't want a super like glowy skin and then this dry lip. I just don't want the chances of that happening. So I've moved into using this. It's 77 Matte Tender, that's what it's called. It was just there at Walmart. I'd never seen it before, but I really like it. So go get you one at Walmart. And it's supposed to be matte, but it's really, if you put on a chapstick, it's like a underneath, which I always suggest you do. It gives a super, super glowy and hydrated look to pull everything else together. And then lastly, we will just finish off by doing our eyelashes and the steps needed to make them look longer. I usually will not put mascara on my eyelashes below unless I'm going to like a fancy event, which I'm going to a wedding, so maybe I will, but I just like I think it looks a little more natural on me personally whenever I only do the top lashes. Or maybe I'm just used to it because I don't usually do my bottom. But let's finish that. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching my video. I hope this helped you and just understanding more what products I use, why I use them, and if you're going for a dewy look, I really suggest all of these products. I don't know tons about makeup, but I know that I have tried multiple things and this is what really works for me. I highly suggest you use those products I used at the beginning to form a layer of protection before you add all those makeup products, especially if you're wearing makeup all day. And try to find a foundation that has SPF in it. So this is the final look. I think that took me about 15 minutes, maybe 20. But usually in just everyday life, if I wasn't filming a video, that would probably take me like 10 minutes. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.